Well, we can see some news coming in from the PTI where we do understand that Pakistan jets have violated the Indian airspace. They've entered the border areas of the Nowshera sector, and they were immediately pushed back by Indian jets on air patrol. So this is exactly what we're picking up from PTI. In fact, we do have Parikshit joining in to give us the latest that he's picking up. Parikshit, over to you.
Well, ever since the airstrike on the Jaish-e-Mohammed camp in Balakot, there have been military exercises going on both sides. In fact, the Pakistani Air Force had been on high alert since yesterday. Even this morning, Indian jets were on routine exercises within Indian territory, keeping an eye on what's happening at the LOC and the international border. We are getting to know from PTI that Pakistani jets today tried to violate the airspace, but they were pushed back by Air Force jets. So that is where the information stands for the moment. There was a lot of action on the LOC last evening, especially between 6:30 and 7:30. There was heavy firing from Pakistani side. It was unusual. Indian Army destroyed about 5 Pakistani posts. 5 Army personnel on the Indian side were also injured. But Indian forces telling us that they're retaliating well, and our forces remain on high alert along the LOC and the international border.
Okay, thanks very much, Parikshit, for getting us those details. I mean, the market's climbed down quickly, hasn't it? I mean, we were up 100 points plus when we started at 11. I mean, actually, even 10 minutes till about 10 minutes ago, things were looking pretty solid. But let's put the Nifty up quickly. Yeah. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So there's a sharp drop off. I mean, 50 points is shaved off.
Below 10,900 in terms of levels. And even for the mid-cap index, there's a huge come-off. I think it's more sharp or stark for the mid-cap index in terms of the come-off as compared to the Nifty.
I mean, you know, I think the point is one doesn't know whether, I mean, how much this escalates, in what shape and form it will take in the coming days and weeks. So I think to that degree, I think markets will stay a bit on tender hooks, but I mean, still 55 points higher, but 50 points off the highs very quickly in about 15 minutes flat since the, news about sort of Pakistani aircrafts violating Indian sort of airspace started circulating, and Parikshit, of course, now getting us the details. But of course, I mean, pushed back by Indian forces, and other details as given by Parikshit. We'll continue to track the story. That remains the top one, big one, in terms of just sheer impact and, of course, mind space as well. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj is in China for the India-Russia-China trilateral meet, and she raised the issue of the strike there as well. She said that the IAF strike was not a military operation, and India doesn't look to escalate this issue any further. Listen in.
Following the Pulwama terrorist attack, instead of taking seriously the calls by international community to act against Jaish-e-Mohammed and other terror groups based in Pakistan, Pakistan denied any knowledge of the attack and outrightly dismissed claims by Jaish-e-Mohammed. In the light of continuing refusal of Pakistan to acknowledge and act against terror groups on its territory, and based on credible information that Jaish-e-Mohammed was planning other attacks in its various parts of India, Government of India decided to take preemptive action. The largest and the target was selected in order to avoid civilian casualties. Excellencies, this was not a military operation. No military installations were targeted. The limited objective of the preemptive strike was to act decisively against the terrorist infrastructure of Jaish-e-Mohammed in order to preempt another terror attack in India. India does not wish to see further escalation of the situation. India will continue to act with responsibility and restraint.
Mike Pompeo, the U.S. Secretary of State, says, and I quote, following Indian counter-terrorism action on February 26th, I spoke with the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, Sushma Swaraj, to emphasize our close security partnership and shared goal of maintaining peace and security in the region. I also spoke with the Pakistani Foreign Minister to underscore the priority of de-escalating current tensions by avoiding military action and the urgency of Pakistan taking needful and meaningful action against terrorist groups operating on its soil. I expressed to both ministers that we encourage India and Pakistan to exercise restraint and avoid escalation at any cost. I also encourage both ministers to prioritize direct communication and avoid further military activity. So that's a comment coming in from the U.S. Secretary of State. Okay, we're going to take a very quick break here. The market still remains about actually 60 points from the highs, off the highs. Those 60 points, a direct casualty of reports, which is at the bottom of your screen. As I said, we'll continue to track this story closely. Slip into that break. We are back. Ashwini with us, as always, at 11:30 for some trading ideas. Back in 2.